Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of Langchain series. In this video, we are going to go into the detail of the Langchain. We are going to answer simple questions such as what is Langchain? Let me show you. You can see the screen. What is Langchain? Why it exists? What is the significance and role in building the LLM apps? And how we can build a simple app using the Langchain. So, but before getting into this detail, we need to understand what is LLM. So when it comes to LLM, so LLM stands for large language model, uh, and large language models are being trained on a huge amount of data. And with the help of this model, large language model, we can understand, we can summarize, and we can generate and predict text in the natural language format. So its output can be in the form, it's in the form of a text. Okay, it can be huge text, it can be a summarizer, it can also be used to create code. So it can be code also, it can be an SQL query also, anything which we can generate it with the help of the large language model. So how does the large language model work? So in simple word, large language model do the prediction. It predicts the next word based upon the patterns, based upon the information or the knowledge base which it has. Okay, what kind of applications can be used for applications which can be built using the large language models? So we can build something like chatbots, summarizer, question and answer for the customer support. Mm. And some common example of the large language models are GPT models, which is being provided by the OpenAI. Then we have Gemini by Cloud, Anthropic Cloud, uh, and there are some other open source model like Olama, etc., which we can use it. So now, how we can access these models, large language models? The companies, the respective companies which have built these APIs, they have provided the APIs. So with the help of the APIs, and they have also provided the API documentation. So with the help of that, we can access the large language model APIs. Mm. Now, first we have to understand the simple LLM architecture. How does it fits? So so when so let's say we are only using a large language model. So let's say a person, a user, okay, it asks a query like, let's say, what is the weather of city? What is the weather of the city today? Okay, so it's going to feed into the app and it's going to answer the query, and the large language model is going to, based upon its understanding, based upon the knowledge base which it has or it's being trained on, it's going to give the answer to the so the problem with this LLM architecture, or we can say the standalone LLM architecture, is that it is stateless, which means that let's say if a user is asking so many questions, okay, it's not going to remember all of them. So there is no state where we can store, there is no memory. So you remember, like when we use the chatbots, it remembers the previous questions also which is being asked by us. Okay, so here this is the challenge. When you are using a simple LLM, it's not going to use any kind of a memory. Okay, it's simple kind of just using a prompt and getting the answer, a kind of a simple prompt engineering. There is no tool, or basically tools here helps in is defining a pre-built function, or it can also be an access to the third party APIs. Okay, how we can access that? So these are the common challenges also when we use the simple LLM or a kind of a standalone LLMs. So basically, standalone LMs are useful when we just want to work with a simple flow, like you just ask a question and you receive an output. Okay, but when we try to build an application, it's going to be a lot of different challenges, because in the real world application, what happens is like we need more context. Okay, we need to control the flow of the application, or we can say functional flow. So we need to have a kind of an orchestration. Then we need to also have some kind of a tools and memory. So let's say if you're building any kind of an a chatbot, so in that case we need to use certain kind of tools to understand the query which user has done, then to access the data. Okay, and then also to get into the reasoning. So for this purpose, some external tools are being used. We also need to store the memory. Okay, like what user has asked, what is the context in that conversation going on. So these things are very much important when we are building an application. The other most important thing is like connection to the external database. So when I say external database, sometimes if you use a simple large language model, okay, it has a huge context. Okay, it's being trained on a huge amount of data, but we want our application to be restricted to a particular domain. So for that purpose, we need to connect it to the database, and those database contains the data which is relevant to our domain. So that's why the connection to external database is extremely important. The application also need API integration. Sometimes we need to integrate it with the external APIs or some third-party APIs, or we need to build our own API. So integrating it with the large language model is very much important. So this is the kind of things which is being required for a real-world application. And now for this purpose, okay, we have the Langchain. So basically, Langchain is a kind of a development framework which is mostly used by the developers or the data scientists. So to build an application, so what happens here is like when the user ask a query or it gives an input, it goes to the application, and the application calls Langchain. Okay, and Langchain has all its facilities. It can store the memory, which means like with the help of the memory, it can remember what is being asked. Okay, it can have the access to the tools, which helps us in defining the pre-built functions. Or you can say accessing the accessing the functions which is being supported by the third party APIs. Then the database, we can connect it to the database, which can be a kind of a vector store, or it can be a kind of a document uploader. It also provide a different a specific style of prompt engineering where we can structure our prompt. If the prompt is very huge, we can structure it in a different ways. We can also pass certain variables to it. And then all these things, with the help of all these things which Langchain has, it calls the LLM, and an LLM provides a response. So so this is why the Langchain is very much important. It's a kind of a development framework which helps us in building an application which based upon the large language model. So we can understand it like this way. So here the Langchain is a kind of a you can think about it as a human body, complete human body, and where large language model is the brain of the application. So LLM is basically the brain, which contains certain prompts and all those things, to which it is, so not it contains prompts, to which the certain prompts and all those things are being, and the whole framework or the whole human body is the line chain. So that's why Langchain is very much important. It eases, with the help of all these facilities, it eases the use uh, uh, of building the applications. And the next thing about here, next thing is about the what are the different building blocks of Langchain. Okay, so the first thing is the Langchain supports prompt, or you can say prompt engineering. So basically, in the prompt engineering, we provide set of instructions or business rules which LLM model has to follow. It has a special prompt templates which helps us in creating reusable instructions for the model. Instead of writing single prompt, we develop structure prompt patterns that can accept variables. Okay, then. Then we have the tools. Okay, so with the help of these tools, it helps the large language models, okay, interact with the different APIs and functions. Okay, and then we have the agents. So with the help of the agents, agents basically decides whether which tool to use and in what order. Okay, and then we have the models. So basically models here refers to the large language models. It can be anything. So Langchain supports different models. It supports the OpenAI GPT models. It has supports for Anthropic Claude, Olama, also Gemini. So it has support for different LLM models. It can be it can be an open source model, or it can be a paid model. Okay, then we have the messages. So basically messages here refers to the fundamental unit of context for models in Langchain. Okay, so they represents how we want our input and output of the models. It contains the role, content, and the metadata. Next thing is about is the memory. So memory is like basically when we are building a kind of a chatbot or a kind of a conversation agent. So we need to store, we need to understand what was the previous questions which were asked by the agents. So with the help of the Langchain, we can store. It has a memory, and it has two types of memories: short-term memory and the long-term memory. We'll go into the details afterwards. So with the help of this memory, what happens is like we can store the conversation, okay, which helps us to understand the user's intent in a much more better way. Then we have the chains. So basically chains here connect the multiple steps together. So a single chain can be a simple format of prompt, calling the model and parsing the output, okay, but sometimes to perform a task we need to have a multiple chains. So we need to connect the multiple steps together. So that's why the chains are very much important. The other important building block is the retrieval. So basically retrieval here refers to uh, providing the facility to connect to a external documentation. The documentation can be at any format. It can be a PDF, it can be a text document, or CSV file. It can be any kind of a document type. And also the thing is like we can also connect to a kind of a database. So it can be a MS SQL, or it can be a vector database, which is kind of which contains the database, which contains data in the form of embeddings. So so these are the building blocks of the Langchain. So that's why you can understand now that using a standalone LLM is not suitable for the application, because application for building an application it needs other things also, and the Langchain is that development framework, okay, or that complete body structure. With the help of that, we can build the application. It eases the development of the applications based upon the LLMs. So for simple works, we can use the standalone models, and for multiple step or real world applications, it's important to use the LangChain applications. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a simple beginner's code, which I have written. So here, this is the code which is being written. Um, so I can show you. So what we are doing here is like, first we have got all the LangChain libraries. So please remember here is that I'm using let me maximize my screen. Okay, control plus. Okay, control minus. Okay, yeah. So let me put it like this. Yes. Okay. Yes, now it's good. So what we are doing here is like I have created this project is based upon the UV configuration. So what I've done here is like you have to install the LangChain. So you can download the UV, and you can I can show you some of the command. So you can add the LangChain. Once you have UV is being done, you have created your environment, and then you can add the LangChain Olama. You can add LangChain. Okay, so when you do that, you are going to get all the things here. So this is what I have added: LangChain Olama, and Olama 0.6.2. Okay. So what I'm doing here is like I have created the kind of I've imported all the libraries. So I've got this chat Olama. So basically this is a kind of local LLM via Olama, and then I have got the tools from the LangChain as we discussed. So basically tools are which converts the function into a kind of a LangChain tools, and which can be accessed via the different agents. Then we have the messages and human messages. Okay. So what we are doing here is like I have defined two methods to get the stock price and get stock news for different stocks: AAPL, GOGL, and TSLA, Tesla. Okay. Google and AAPL. So now what I'm going to do, similar ways to getting the stock price, I'm also getting the stock news here for all of them. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the model. I'm going to do a model call. Okay. And then here I am executing the tools. Uh, so price, I put everything in the inside the price and news. And now here I'm defining the messages. So what we are going to do, we are use these tools. I provided the human messages, which contains the instructions. Okay, that you have to use this tool to answer the user questions. What we want here, we want the stock price tool result. So it's going to look into the price stock, and what the user is asking here, what's the price and the latest news of the AAPL. Okay. So, and here the instruction is provide a single clear paragraph answer. No JSON or tool calls needed now. Okay. And then I'm storing it the result here, model.in work, and passing the messages. And here I'm printing the result. So let me run this one for you. So when I run this, let me run this. Yeah, UV run starter code, and I'm going to put it as enter. So when I'm going to enter it, so it's going to provide me the answer based upon the instructions which is being provided. It takes some time to run the code. So let's have some patience. Yeah, you can see here we got the agent final answer. So the current price of AAPL is $276, and the latest news of the AAPL includes an update on the record venue in Q1 2026 and the announcement of the AI feature, which is exactly what it is being present here. See, Q1 2026 and the announcement of the AI new AI feature, and here we have the 276.23. This was a simple application demo code. Okay, so when we will proceed with this series, we are going to look into in detail about how the tools are being created, how the memory is being stored, basically what are the different the most important features of Langchain, and how we can use them in building the application, and how we'll also look into some use cases also. We'll try to build some use cases. um, so that's it for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions, and see you in the next video. And please like, share, and subscribe, and if you have any request, let me know. Thanks a lot for watching this video.